Welcome back to the Journal of a Happy, Successful Leader. And today I'm going to be sharing an episode with you that I am going to call Rise Up. And the reason I'm calling it that is because I always say notice what you notice. And I noticed that last week or so, this term Rise Up keeps showing up in my life. And actually it's a little bit annoying. But I've had to really think about what does that mean to me and why does it keep showing up? And I guess it's really challenged me. It's a bit like when you say, I want a Mini Cooper or I want to get a red car. That's all you're going to see on the road, right? Because you bring it into your conscious awareness is a Mini or a red car. It's just that, go away and think about that today. It's true. And I'm noticing this phrase keeps coming up. So I'm like, well, what does it mean to me? Why does it keep showing up? What do I think of the phrase? Where do I need to rise up? What does that mean? So the older I get, the more focused I get about just being authentically me and about showing up how I want to show up, maybe rise up, and caring less about what others think. Not to the point that people's opinions are wrong or they're not valid, but not worrying about it as much. I don't really have a lot of anxiety, which I'm really pleased about. I used to have really bad OCD as a kid, and the older I get, it just went. Not saying as I'm perfect, everybody's got their own things going on, but I do not really have a lot of anxiety, so I don't really care what others think. Sometimes probably I need to care a bit more at points, but actually I care about the people that I value and that make a difference to my life, and I value their outlook on life. So look, I think that works for me. But when you care less, you don't worry about if you're good enough, and you start to worry less about failing, and that's a big thing, is looking at what failure can do to people and how much it can hold them back. And it's about learning. It's about listening to your intuition. It's about the gut feeling that you have, and going with your, the voice in your heart over the voice in your head. And this has really challenged me recently to think about, again, what does success mean to me? And ultimately, to me, success is about being happy. But recently, that's been debatable for me. I've gone through a bit of a transition the last few months. And it's led me to a place where, when I've had some time out this week, I've started to reflect and think about what's really important to me. And ultimately, some of the decisions I make over the next 6 months will have a big impact in my future. And I notice that I'm really drawn to people who possess this huge energy for life. And that's, like I shared, the law of vibration. So I'm really into that, and having people around me and connecting with those people. So I was talking about this with somebody today who's a coach, and we were saying about when you get in the world sometimes where it's coaching, it's great, and it's people working themselves, you get like a little bit of a bubble going on where you're working with people that are really positive. So when you then start to work with people that are negative, it's really hard because they naturally pull you down. You have to rise up and above them all the time and always show up. And that's draining, and it's hard. And it's hard to keep the consistency on that because we're all human and we all have bad days and good days. But what I notice is that when you have that mindset where you're positive, you have an energy about yourself, you're driven, you're passionate about what you do, you love what you do, you want to have some fun, then lots of people aren't like that. And it's been really interesting to reflect on. And I've really challenged myself to be quite vulnerable and share this with people, because that's something I'm always asked to do, is be like, show up as real Natalie and step out my comfort zone and share where I'm struggling. And one of the biggest things I've always struggled with in leadership and managing people and leading people is showing failure. And I think I do it really well. But I know I've had feedback that I don't, and I don't allow people to feel that and to feel they can just give things a go. So it's something I've really had to, again, understand what it means to them versus, and then share what it means to me, so that we're really clear on those things and creating some boundaries, I guess. But success will be different to you. And you need to know that you're going to fail often. I'm going to do that like a Stephen Bartlett bit where he throws a page, because I've written some notes today actually for this one. Just have a bit of structure because I love structure. And what I've noted down is it's about, or what I've been really working on is something that then hasn't come through and, you know, been a fruition, which is what I say. And what I envisaged and what I committed to hasn't paid off how I wanted it to. And that's been hard, because I've often done really, really well for education. I always did really well when I worked hard. I got the results I wanted at school, college, uni. And again, like for my career, I've always kind of climbed the ladder, the corporate ladder, really quickly and done it really well. So the higher you go, the harder it gets, the lonelier it gets. And it's been tough not to sometimes achieve what I've wanted to. And again, it goes back to the phrase, you know, like, how does that feel? And I've had to really tap into the emotion of that, and know that lots of us, when we're in roles of leadership, is that, and I guess corporate, where it's so driven, we want stuff that's tangible. We want to feel that there's been something that we can measure it on. And I don't know how I measure this, because it's an experience I haven't gone through before, and it's feelings and emotions I haven't gone through before. And what I've really had to do is just trust my gut and my intuition and stick by that. The biggest thing I've really noticed, and this has been, I guess, where I'm great at things in my self-awareness, because I love personal development and I love knowing about how I improve and get better. Like they say, like every day should be 1% better than the day before, like those marginal gains. And what I've really noticed is the power of amazing sponsors, mentors, role models, and trusted influences in my life. And again, this is going back to that positive part, that I guess that's where I'm really fortunate, and that this isn't a negative, that I have these people, but I've created this world around me. And those people are the ones that really listen. They inspire me and I trust them, and they also challenge me, and that's really important. They play a bit of the devil's advocate, but ultimately I've stood my ground on this one, and I've been really confident on that, and it's felt good because I gave 100% to it, emotionally, physically, mentally. And I think some people think I've been emotional with it, and I said I'm not emotional with it. In some ways, I'm really strong-minded on the fact that I've given everything and I wanted to be in this place, and it hasn't paid off, and that's cool. It is what it is. But this is me making a decision that is scary and that's got to be different. And it's me being proud of what I've achieved. And that's a different feeling when you've done everything you can and you're proud of what you've achieved, and people that are around you and love you share the same feedback, that really proud of you. And that's a really great place to be. So there is something positive to come from everything. And like I always say, everything is a learning experience. Even if you say, I don't want that again, you've learned something. And life isn't about a one-off moment. This is a point that I really see life as, there isn't just one trigger. Okay, I really get annoyed at that sometimes with myself, because I'm always like, sometimes when I want to stop some things I do with bad habits, I want it to be a trigger, and there's not. It's a basic impact of lots of different things going on that compound, that will make me then make the change potentially, because I'll be in so much point of a pain. And I always say this in mentoring, that people move from pain to pleasure. I used to think it was the opposite, that I was drawn by pleasure, but you have to really be in a point of pain, and it's so much pain that then you'll take action, and then you'll make the difference and make the change. So it's about the fact that these experiences and situations have compounded, and here, this is where you have to know yourself really well, and you have to tap into a difference in that. So I guess the question becomes, how can we tap in with that inner voice? And I've noticed what's been driving me more recently, and there's lots of things been going on that are really serving me well, and that's the people, as I've just shared, but other stuff as well that's not, and that's important to look at what's not working, what's going well and what's not going well. And I've noticed that where I've had therapy the last few years, I can push pain down quite a lot. And the purpose of me sharing this is because, again, there's not just one thing that happens when you're really driven, when you're really focused on being successful in your own terms and what you want in life, then the impact and effect of everything that happens, whether it's in and out of work, has an overall impact in your success. So I've noticed that, it's things like an example of looking after your mental health. The fact that I go to gym every day, or most days, it really funnels me to be focused in having a clear mindset, having energy, feeling on point with feeling fit, and that's really important to me. Those, because it's aligned to my values of health, and like most people know, my values are very important to me because I think they have such an impact. When I'm not aligned to my values, that's when life's not going great. And that's the thing I've noticed here is somebody recently has impacted the strongest value I have, which is respect. And that's why I've been so on points, frustrated at points with it, the scenario and the situation. But that's life, and I need to understand that sometimes you have to go through that. You can't just think, oh, I'll feel better tomorrow. And sometimes you have to know that actually it's going to be a crap week. It's going to be a crap few months. And I'm not going to get over this straight away, but I'm working on it. And this is another thing I've noticed is that I've I don't even know that, I don't even know it's relevant to share on this, but I'm going to share it, is that I've started having a drink each night. And I'm not at the point where I'm saying I'm AA, because I'm not. I've literally stopped. I don't have to have a drink. But it's the relief it feels when I get in and have a drink. So again, I know an amazing coach, and we just had a little catch ups and share things, and she's very much in sobriety, and we're talking about the fact of cravings and triggers, and a craving will only last 15 minutes ideally, and you have to get over that craving. So you can swap out for things. So as crazy as it sounds, I'll have a can of Coke in a fancy glass and it feels like I'm doing similar. It's not about the fact that it's booze, it's about the feeling it gives me in that release and that moment, that downtime. So then I'm looking at myself thinking, what is the release I need? Why do I really need that? What else could I do? And I guess she challenged me today on what do you want, why do you want this? And, one of the things she did really well was to look at how it would impact the next day and tomorrow. And it's true, like I'm fed up of waking up feeling that brain fog, a little bit sluggish. I'm better than that. And I know that I've been better than that when I've been on point with my fitness, food, everything. And life's bloody easier, it's better. So I need to get myself back to a position, and that's me, but doing kind of like coaching myself, that I'm employing a previous strength where I knew I did it well, and I need to do it now again. I just need to be more aware of the fact that I'm not doing that in a minute and change it. But that's the key part, is that we know it's not going to be overnight. We just need to slow down that. And therapy's definitely taught me that. I've had bouts of therapy the last few years. Like CBT doesn't really work well with me. You have to go and explore things that work for you. And I really talk about this a lot because I think people think there's a shame in getting therapy and asking for help, essentially. And yeah, I'm not great on asking for help. I need to get better at it, and I've started to work on that. But what it does is, I guess why I love it is because it's the person who I go to for my therapist, she doesn't know me in terms of my life and everything like that. She hears what I say, but there's no judgment, and that's really, really important to me. I also do rapid transformational therapy. So that's it's a practice by Marissa Peer. If you go research her, she's phenomenal. And she does a lot of celebrities now with this process, what she's got as her practice, which is RTT. And it's a blend of therapies. And one of the points is they put you into hypnosis. So I think it's like a good hour session, and you record the session and then she sends it to you and plays it back. And then you have to basically listen to that for 21 days. And again, that goes into kind of rewiring. And this is linked into, if you've read James Clear's Atomic Habits, this is about habit stacking. It's an amazing book, by the way. So it's about that rewiring thing, but it taps into your subconscious. So what you actually come out with, and I come out with some funny stuff, and I share it with my parents because I'm very close to my parents. It's important that you do that with people that you trust. But yeah, it's really helping me to look at life. So I don't think I'm in that place at the minute where I need that, because I'm doing different things. I'm writing things down a lot, I'm reading, and I'm doing more of what I love and things that bring me a bit more fun. I think as adults we get boring, and we get really serious, and we forget like life is short and we should be enjoying something in the way of having a laugh and just being more creative and everything every single day. I'm not sure if I'm big on the term like do your passions, but I am big on asking people when they seem a bit stuck, what did you want to do when you were younger? Because often when we're younger, we want to do things that are around stuff that makes us happy and brings us what we love and brings an energy that's very, very different. Just notice it yourself and what others would say if you ask them that, and what you say if you ask yourself that, because I think it's interesting. But I think moving on, it's just about learning to slow down, speed up. And with this journey in the moment, I need to learn to really tap into what's going on for me and listen to my intuition, as I said, feel that and know that it's okay not to feel great, and really look at what do I really want? What do I need? And I read this in a bit today, then start writing it down more. And ironically as well, I preach all this stuff as a mentor and coach, that write it down. And I'll always hold clients accountable. That's, say something like that. It's really interesting. Have you noted that down? Or that's really interesting. What do you think you want to note down out of that to remember? Because when we note things down and write things down, it's proven that we see things differently and it stays with us differently. And it's the same as saying things out loud, right? When we practice things, hearing things, whether we, I think when I was in a presentation really recently, I recorded this speech and then just listened to it back and you just hear and see things differently. It's amazing. But we really need to listen to what we've got going on inside, and then go with the signals of what our kind of body says and what we feel, without sounding woo-woo and geeky. So why rise up? Okay, blimey, it means get up, it means proceed, and it means that I need to let some stuff go, and it also means about succeed. So this journey, some people would challenge me on and say that I fear failure, or that I should have given it a go. I did give it a go. This didn't work out for me, and I'm standing up for the fact that I need to do something different and trust myself in that this journey that I'm on isn't the path of what life wants for me. And there was a study in Harvard Business Review. I read loads from there because I just trust where the data's from and the research, and it's often spot on. And it talks about the fact that we need to really have great relationships. And when we go for promotions, we just focus on the skill set. And that's really made me think about the relationships I have in my life, and are they really serving me at the moment, and which ones are the ones I want to keep versus not keep. And I call like my little bubble out of work and my inner circle. I think when it's work, we think people we're close to people, but their acquaintances are slightly different. So it's really about, like I say, business is about relationships and involving others. So get into cultures where it's aligned to your values and live by those and believe those. There is something really empowering with working with people that believe in you and you believe in them. And it's really different. And it's an amazing feeling when you work with people that are in that world and that place. And then I think you have to do a bit of a perception shift. So this is what this review was challenging me to think about today. in terms of what I would do differently moving forward now. And it's about getting feedback continuing from sponsors. And sponsors are different from mentors and coaches. Coaches will ask you great questions, and mentors will be generally more senior than you. Therefore, they share their experiences to help you on your journey. A sponsor is someone who speaks behind closed doors about you and what they will say about you. They support you in your journey, and they are proactive, and they are there for you. They're different. And you've got to have all of these in your life. And you've then got to be aware in that of how you will work with people and raise your self-awareness as well. It's really important. And I always say that, you've got to get a mentor. So success is never on your own. You won't achieve anything on your own. It's just fact. We need great people around us. And as a leader, success is about inspiring others to be what they want to be as well. And there's a quote by Disney that do it so well that people want to come back and see you do it again. Something like that, yeah. And it's always stuck with me for years and years and years and years. When I started, I think it was when I was 21, and I did my first position where I was leading a team of people, and I saw this quote of somebody that was going through a similar journey of me at the same time, and it's just stuck with me, and I love it. And maybe that's because of the dreamy thing with Disney that I love as well, and the kind of ethos around what Disney stands for as a business has always been inspiring to me. And it's about building those boundaries once you've done this. And, it isn't about what I've been doing recently, which is working stupid hours. And I know better than that. And actually, it's because I choose to, and I love what I do. And it's about being smart. It's about learning to delegate. It's about knowing people better than you, really challenging yourself to that. So who do you coach, who do you support, who do you direct, and who do you delegate to? If you're going to just always do everything and be the doer, you're not an inspiring leader. Well, you're not a leader, full stop. So you need to know that time is currency, and you have to be intentional about what you want to achieve and where you want to be. And you have to prioritize insanely well. And I've really learned this the last few months. So although I reflect back at the minute and think I didn't get what I wanted as the ultimate outcome, like I said, no experience is wasted, and you can take something from everything. And I've learned loads about myself, and I've learned loads about, I could say rise up, about raising my game in terms of relationships as well. The dynamics change with some people that I work with in terms of the richness of our conversation, because it sounds great to say, but it's true. There's a different level of challenge. There's a higher discussion, and yeah, it feels a healthier conversation, and I enjoy those, because it gets me leaving a meeting going, I need to think about that. I need to do things differently. What am I going to do? And take action. And I love that. That's what I do with my coaching. It's about people that I only work with people that are very goal driven, purpose driven, and want to take action. Otherwise, I'm probably going to not be the right coach for them. I'm really always transparent on that, because it just doesn't work for how I want to work as a coach. But it is key to slow down, speed up. It is key that in life we don't take enough time out to reflect. And with a bit of time off this week, I'm really doing that. I'm really looking at what's going well, what could be better, and then what are the steps I need to take. And that might be like 3 simple steps. Again, like keeping it really clear for myself. And part of that's about letting stuff go and showing up, rising up. I don't know. Being authentically you, me. Not everyone will like you, and that's absolutely cool. Okay, so I'm going to whack in another quote here, because we love a good quote, right? Paul Newman once said that it was something like a man with no enemies means it's a man with no character. Basically, that if you've got enemies, you got a bit of bite about you and you got some character. That's how I interpreted that quote. And you stood up for something, and that's a good place to be. And we shouldn't just be accepting the status quo. We should be more challenging of others and ourselves in life. and that sometimes we don't. I think you should always respect people, and no matter what happens, whether you feel respected or not, you hold your values high and your dignity in terms of how you manage situations for yourself, because it's really important. And I think with that, I've looked at that. I don't need to have everybody's opinion though, because actually sometimes it might be one person's, and I'm letting that have such an impact on my life, and I don't need to. Sometimes it's okay to say no to things, and you don't always have to listen. So do what's right for you, trust yourself, rise up with confidence. I've spoken a lot around confidence with females that I mentor recently, and that's a big thing, and that's men and female, male and female, so that we stand by what we say we're going to do, and we have confidence in that. And I guess it brings me back to the start, which is kind of saying to notice what you notice. And yeah, maybe I should call it that, not rise up. I should call it notice what you notice. I don't know. I always say that phrase anyway. But I think there's a few nuggets in there to think about, and how life is for you, what's been going on recently. And again, right, it's coming to end of November into December. And this is always the time I start working with clients on goal setting, and I start doing it myself. So yeah, if you know me well, I have a fancy vision board that I do every single year. So I start thinking about what that'll be, but I only do it the first week of January. So yeah, and then it becomes my desktop screensaver. So I see it every day. And they say then that, again, it's that subconscious part that you created it in your awareness, and it's still there, but you start then manifesting it. It's amazing if you do it. Sometimes it sounds woo-woo, but you just got to do these things sometimes and see how it feels, and then just go with the flow and not worry what others think too much. So I'm basically just summarising some of the points I said in the podcast right now. So with that, I'm going to leave that with you. So go and have a great day. Have a great week. Notice what you notice.